It's like all this content, all the human stuff. When the light gets in those places, and then you have a felt knowing of the power of the light to come into those spots. It creates just a little confidence, a little divine confidence, a little spot where you're like, ah, and then a little more, and then a little more as each piece liberates itself and fills with its original nature. And like they start weaving each other together, like you find a similar spot and there's just a little crack in it already. The next time you visit there, there's a little, I know this one, you know. And then it keeps building, and eventually we get the drift. I remember going to a satsang teacher as a support person each week for quite a long time, and I always found it hilarious that all they were saying was, what are you noticing, and can you allow it? And I would come every single time with like, no, this I can't allow this. And then they would just be like, can you allow it? I'd be like, oh, I'm supposed to allow this? Yes. Oh, okay. But what about resistance? Yeah, allow resistance. But what about this? It's like that's the constant. The mind is always on to find a problem. That's what it's after. Its job is to find problems. So the mind helping us with our spiritual practice, our spiritual evolution, is going to always go, but what about this? And then you start to get the flavor, this is what the mind has to offer in that way, that fearful, the old mind goes, but what about this? But what about this? Isn't there something wrong with this moment? Like, now the ducks are in order in my life, maybe, or I've given up all the rest, and there's something wrong. There's something wrong here with the way my body is, the way my health is. Something's wrong here. And it's just like, that is the song of the mind. That's a song of the very thing that self-perpetuates separation. It's like, it's saying separation, 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 suffering, suffering. And then we're going, oh, suffering? How do we get rid of suffering? Or, I can't have suffering. It's like it self-perpetuates its own little hamster wheel. So when we descend down into the realms of felt sense, of the space around the body, of the sky out the window, of our sensation land, without labeling what it means about an us or a me, it's like we start to question, I'm not what I think I am. And this mind is very predictable. Very predictable. And maybe there's something else I can rely on besides my mind. And it can keep singing its song. It can keep doubting and struggling and making up really convincing arguments like you're going to go crazy. You're going to be left behind. You're not good enough. You're bad. All the good ones. And it picks a very specific place where it lands right in your guts, or right in your, it's like, it picks the perfect little puzzle piece for the perfect moment to get you out of the land where it's going to have to say bye-bye to its control tower. It's like the land of is, the land of noticing that you can live without the constant referencing of the problem fixing, goal, task, maker, going somewhere, getting somewhere, the whole thing, the past, the future. It's like a whole land in the whole body, in the whole soma, and what it has access to. It has access to presence, like this beautiful, rich land that creates a confidence, like that confidence as you have each little piece that you digest. There's another space where confidence can exist, not just in your own pain that you've met, but now you can see it in others because you've met that sorrow so many times. Then when sorrow comes into your space, there's no division. There's no like, oh, I have to do something. It's just meeting that and knowing exactly what to do or not to do with it, because it already solved the puzzle so many times somatically in the field that it's like not offended by, not imposed upon. And it might have beautiful discernment that that's not for you to solve, like that's theirs to carry and be, and that's okay. And it might have just this quiet knowing that's in the space, that's being downloaded silently in their bodies, as it's okay. It's okay. Just as you are, it's okay. You might have a phrase or a day at the park with the person or whatever else in mind. But it comes from this being in alignment and being yourself, being light. And light loves the dark. It doesn't see dark, actually. It just knows itself in all things. Knows itself as all things. And this confidence builds and builds and builds, and then it's like there's no place you can't find that the divine can't inhabit. Like the divine can't. There's no place that's left out. There's no place that's like, oh, well, that place. And it doesn't mean we don't do different practices. We don't just like have to sit there and then the divine does everything. The divine can lead you to do a practice. The divine can lead you to a therapist, a body worker, a solo camping trip on the, California trail for 3 months. It's like, whatever. It can lead you to, really spending a lot of time with the kid that you have that you don't pay enough attention to, or whatever, inside, outside. But this confidence is so who we are. It's like this simple is, confidence in is. And then it's okay if big movements come through. It's like way sturdier to just like let her rip, like when you're touched positively or, sorrowfully, it becomes the same strange laugh cry thing. It's like it's just the nervous system doing this unfolding thing. And it's right there. It's like we get to be so open, so wide open, that it's just like immediate. Life is immediate. It's intimate. We get to feel more of life. We're not just like on the clouds. It's like we feel actually like we're more here. We're more aware. We're more tender, touched. And all the while, this peace, like this peace is the home, and then whatever the body is doing isn't as big. It's like it's so small compared to you, all of you. It becomes more lighthearted and humorous.